Shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to say, Call Allah YAHAWAH, Ba'ashim YAHAWASHI, Ba'ashim Rachak. That belongs to the elders and apostles of the great millstone, taught us this truth and rule well. And shalom to the hopeful elect. Yahawah, Ba'ashim YAHAWASHI, Barakatham. It's the brother Kazar from Menavale 12 West Coast, coming back at it again with another lesson. Alright, and the title of this lesson is going to be, Let the Weak Say I Am Strong. Alright, it's going to be dealing with the situation with the U.S. and China, preparing to go to war. All right, and how I first, I wouldn't say first heard of this news. We've been reading into it. It's been heading into this direction for quite a while. If you really pay attention to the news that's been happening between these two nations, these two countries. All right, I don't want to call them nations; I'd call them kingdoms in reality. But anyways, before I get into this article, I'm gonna touch on how I heard that things are heating up is through community service. I was working alongside an Issakarite, and he seemed pretty concerned for his son. He tells me his son was in the Marines, his son is in the Marines. All right, and basically what happened was, they stationed him in Australia, and I'm thinking Australia's a chill country. Like, why are you so concerned? And he tells me it's because his son told him that the U.S. is surrounding China, so they're mobilizing their troops accordingly. You know what I'm saying? And that really, that really, like, even though the man was concerned, on the inside, it put a smile on me. Of course, you got to be Clark Kent, and kind of, pretend, be at peace with all men. You know what I'm saying? But really on the inside, I was gleaming, I was smiling because this thing is about to pop off, man. All right, all hell's about to break loose. You know what I'm saying? Yahawah Ba'ashim YAHAWASHI is raising up the nations to go to war against each other. Ultimately, it's the manifestation of the scripture. I believe it's in the book of Matthew, chapter 24 and 6. Let me see if I could go get it real quick. So the book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 7. Actually, I'm just gonna go straight to the point. All right, and it reads, Matthew chapter 24, verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. All right, and that's what's going on. All right, Yahawah Ba'ashim YAHAWASHI is raising up the nations to go to war with each other. All right, as it is written in verse 8, all these are the beginning of sorrows. Okay, we are, you know what I'm saying? It's about to be great sorrows, great tribulations that's put on earth. Why? Because of the wickedness, man. All right, and that's pursuant to the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 15 and 5, and it reads, Behold, said Yahawah Ba'ashim YAHAWASHI, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. All right, so Yahawah Ba'ashim YAHAWASHI, he's bringing a lot of pain to the world. He's bringing a lot of tribulation to the world. And why is he doing it? Verse 6, for wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and the hurtful works are fulfilled. All right, and then, as it is written in the book of Psalms, I believe it's chapter 9, if I'm not mistaken, where it reads, the nations that forget Yahawah Ba'ashim YAHAWASHI, the living power. All right, that's the big reason why he's doing this, is because these nations are ultimately ruling the world, starting with the so-called white men, the Edomites. All right, they're ruling in wickedness, man. They're not fearing Yahawah Ba'ashim YAHAWASHI. They're not reverencing Yahawah Ba'ashim YAHAWASHI. They're going off into their own pagan ideologies, and also too, they're poisoning our people with their philosophies, man. All right, they got our people going into wickedness, man. He's an unjust ruler, the so-called white man, the Edomites, man. The world is given into their hands to, as it is written in the book of Job 9 and 24. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. All right, so of course he's gonna be doing wicked things. He's gonna cover the earth in gross darkness. All right, and Yahawah Ba'ashim YAHAWASHI is putting that spirit into these nations to fight against each other. All right, because pursuing the Psalm chapter 83, these nations are confederate against us. All right, and they've been confederate against us. That's why they got our people on all types of wicked platforms promoting wickedness on ourselves, man. On the so-called blacks, Latinos, Native Americans, man. All right, God is going, God is going astray. You know what I'm saying? And it's only the only exemption is basically the brothers in this truth, man, the hopeful elect. All right, because we're the only ones doing the right thing, as opposed to the rest of our nation. They're just through, from the so-called black man, the Native American, and the so-called Hispanics, man, just threw, man. All right, so YAHAWASHI is making his moves to deliver to deliver the very small remnant. All right, because as it is written in the book of Isaiah, chapter let me see, book of Isaiah, chapter 1. All right, the book of Isaiah, chapter 1 and 9, and it reads, "Except Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahawashi of hosts, had left unto us a very small remnant, we should have been as Sodom, and we should have been like unto Gomorrah." You know, and that's not talking about necessarily the wickedness that was going on there. That's basically talking about, you know, the how do I put it to you? That's talking about the destruction that happened in those two cities, man. All right, we would have been destroyed like Sodom, and we would have been destroyed like Gomorrah. All right, because of our because of the 2/3 going off, man, and the 2/3 are going to cast their judgment on this side, man. All right, that's ultimately what's going to happen. Why? Because they love it here. You know, they're not looking past this kingdom. You know what I'm saying? And ultimately their spirit isn't groaning towards Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahawashi to redeem them. You know, to redeem us. You know, that's not what they're doing. They're fucking comfortable here. So Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahawashi is about to shake the pot on them, so to speak. You know, he's about to shake the whole world, man. All right, so let's go back into the article. All right, and let's start with the little heading right here, where it says every year China celebrates a victory over the United States. All right, and this will give me the spirit to title the lesson as it was titled, "Let the weak say I am strong," because they're boasting themselves up now, man. All right, they're starting to step up toward the U.S., you know, the big bully. You know, and that's another thing too, you know, with the situation between the U.S. and China, you know, Russia's going to step in too, because Russia and China are very they're basically on the same side. All right, so, and it's a car accident. I don't want Ratazar make it to camp on time. All right, but anyways, it reads, "We know it as the Korean War. The Chinese call it the war to resist American aggression and aid Korea." You know what I'm saying? So yo, these Moabites, man, because that's the true biblical nationality of the so-called Chinese. You know, it's the Moabites. All right, so yo, these Moabites are starting to get, you know, hey, they're starting to get tough now, man. Hey, they're starting to get tough with the U.S., man. You know, with the stuff that they're saying. You know, every year celebrating a victory over the U.S., that shows you how they feel about the U.S., man. Yeah, they may be our biggest trade partner, but yo, when that pops off, man, you know what I'm saying? It ain't gonna matter. You know, it's not gonna matter. All right, because these Moabites, they think that they got next, but they really don't. Okay, they really don't. And guess what? When things really start heating up in that trading, because you know, China being our biggest trade partner, you know, I wouldn't say ours, but the U.S.'s biggest trade partner. All right, Salaki Yabashim Shah, but China being the U.S.'s biggest trade partner, you know, once these things this heats up and that trade agreement gets severed, all right, that's gonna be a very big detriment to the U.S. economy, man. All right, so ultimately Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahawashi has it on all levels that this place is gonna come down, man. And this is just China. All right, never mind Russia, never mind Iran. You know what I'm saying? And these three nations are gonna join up, man. All right, all the nations that hate the U.S., that hate the whore, they're gonna join up. You know, and as it is written, the beast shall hate the whore. Even the NATO and the EU, you know what I'm saying? Those nations in Europe, you know, the European Union, they're gonna team up and destroy America too, man. All right, you know, that's why you had that little situation that happened a couple days ago, you know, with creepy Joe Biden falling down, you know, the steps, you know, trying to get to his airplane. He fell down midway, man, because the burden of Babylon is just too much to bear, man. All right, ain't no healing this place, ain't no picking this place up. This place is through, man. All right, so we're gonna continue reading. All right, and it reads, when Mao Zedong's People's Volunteer Army turned back. Come on, bro, you just gonna fucking put the car on me and shit? Salakia. So when Mao Zedong's people, volunteer army turned back the U.S. 8th Army in December 1950, it inflicted what is still known today as the longest retreat in American military history. All right, and so these Moabites, man, they're looking at what happened in the past, and they're like, yo, you know what, man, we could take these Americans. You know, we could take them. Look what happened in the 1950s. We could take them. You know, and we got nuclear bombs too. You know, like the scripture says, you know, it beat their plowshares into swords and their pruning hooks into spears. You know, that's talking about the weapons race. You know, the arms race, dealing with nuclear bombs and nuclear capabilities. You know, and not just that, but also military technology, man. All right. So we're gonna keep on reading. All right, the Battle of Changchun has taken on even more significance as the drumbeat sounds louder of another conflict between China and the U.S. All right, so these Moabites are getting hey, man, they're starting to puff themselves up, man. They're starting to get tough with the U.S., man. All right, starting to get tough with Babylon. And it reads, last year at the 70th anniversary of China's triumph, Xi Jinping warned the Chinese people that the road ahead will not be smooth. All right, he called on people to revive the spirit of the Korean War, to speak to invaders in the language they know, to use war to prevent war. Okay, so yo, man, hey, these nations are getting in the spirit, man. All right, and all these nations are getting in the spirit, man. All right, you look at China, you look at, you look at Russia, you know what I'm saying? You look at Iran, you know, especially with the stuff that's been happening last year. Yo, man, the powder keg is about to blow. All right, so I'll read, simply tell the Americans that China is not afraid. It was victorious once and will be again. All right, so this is the key point, you know, that I want, that basically led to that led to you know, the title of the lesson, you know, let the weak say I am strong, is because look, man, they're starting to get you know, they're starting to get roused up, you know. And as you can see, you know, in this little picture right here, you know, you see that's that dude with the red name tag on his chest. You know, that's the leader of China, man. All right, that's the leader of the Moabites. All right, and you see his you see his stature, you see his stance that he has, you know, in front of his people. You know what I'm saying? That's the spirit that they are in, man. All right, they're starting to get tough with Babylon, man. All right, and they're not the only ones. Okay, so we're gonna go to the book of Joel chapter 3. Let's see what scripture I'm gonna start. Let's go with verse 9. All right, and it reads, Joel chapter 3 and 9, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. All right, and this is dealing with the arms race. All right, and ultimately, you know, dealing with, you know, in the last times, how the scripture says knowledge shall be increased. You know, that's something that's been happening, man. Knowledge is being increased. The technologies and the military capabilities of the nations have been increased. You know, if you really think about it, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't, you know, just a few centuries ago, everybody was fighting with swords and shields, man. Now everybody got firearms. Everybody got, you know, it's a whole new type of war, man. All right, it's a whole new type of war. And even then, all right, now we got nuclear capabilities, man. All right, everybody's fighting with nukes now. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, everybody, you know what I'm saying, with China and Iran and Russia having nuclear capabilities, you know, they are saying that they're strong now. All right, pursuant to the last part where it says, let the weak say, I am strong. All right, and that's what they're doing. All right, that's what these other nations are doing. You know what I'm saying? Because it was a few decades ago that the U.S. was the mightiest among the nation, and it was all because of their nuclear capabilities. All right, it was all because of their you know, the nuclear bombs, the atomic bombs. You know, that's the Spirit 144. You know, but it was all because of their nuclear bombs, their atomic bombs. You know what I'm saying? And how do I put it to you? You know, these other nations, you know, they feared the U.S. because of that. You know, but now that these other nations are developing nuclear capabilities of their own, You know, as the scripture says, you know, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. You know, now they're getting tough with the U.S., man. Now they're getting tough with Babylon. You know, and that's what it is, man. Because, you know, it makes perfect sense. You know, they could be researching. You know, they could be researching agriculture. You know, they could be researching their infrastructure. Instead, what they're doing is they're researching into swords, man. All right, they're putting all their research into weapons. You know what I'm saying? And that's what they've been doing. Why? Because, you know, as the scripture says, all right, the third woe. Let me see if I could bring that out. All right, the book of Revelations, chapter 11, verse 14. All right, and it reads, the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. Okay, and that's dealing with the world wars. All right, that's what that's dealing with. You know, with Second World War, man, it was very devastating to the world. You know, it ended in the atom bomb being dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. You know what I'm saying? And that's what made these nations fear the U.S. All right, and these nations were like, look, man, we can't. You know, our arms aren't long enough to box against the U.S. because they got their nuclear capabilities, man. So what they're gonna do is, you know, they started the Cold War. You know, did a whole bunch of you know, basically stuff on the side. You know what I'm saying? But internally they were developing their own nuclear capabilities. And now that they got their nuclear capabilities, you know, hey, you know what I mean? They're ready now. You know, and China's the one of them, man. China's just one of them. You know, you got Iran. You know, you got Russia. You know, all these nations that hate America, they're gonna team up, man. All right, so that's the times that we're in. You know, as the scripture says, the testimony of YAHAWASHI, of Hamashiach YAHAWASHI, is the spirit of prophecy. All right, Adawan Ratazah, you know, is an edifying lesson to the brothers, man. All right, so with that, I'm going to say, call halal Yahawah, Ba'ashim YAHAWASHI, Ba'ashim Recha Kodash, for giving me the spirit to do this lesson. That belongs to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, who taught us this truth. With that, I'm going to say, Shalom.